Lord here to discuss Batman Hush. So recently I watched Batman Hush. And Hush is one of my favorite comic books of all time. I'm not going to say that it's like one of the best comic books of all time, just that personally it's one of my favorite reads. So I was really excited when I heard they were making a Batman Hush movie. And I saw it, and I have a few thoughts about the movie. So, spoiler warning, we're going to go through those thoughts, and obviously there's going to be spoilers. And I'm going to give you a spoiler warning even if you've read the comics, because the movie is different than the comics. I'm having trouble. I want to look here, and I need to look here if I'm talking to the audience, I think. So yeah, spoiler warning, even if you read Batman Hush and you're a big fan of it, the movie is different from the comic, and I don't mean just in little ways, in a very big, important way, it differs from the comic. This is not me ranting about the movie or hating on the movie. I think it's okay in its own right. There are things that don't make sense to me, but that doesn't mean it's not good. So, let's start off. The movie starts with Bruce Wayne at a party. And he's at this party, and he's, like, talking to Alfred on, like, a Bluetooth or something. And he spots Selina Kyle over across the party. He sees her, and he's very happy to see her. I do like the way she's drawn in this movie, and that's saying a lot, because I have never liked this animator's animation style. I'm probably biased, because I'm a big Bruce Timm fan of the way he kind of draws things, but I did really like the way she looked in this movie. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, okay, so he sees her across the party. Alfred suggests that maybe she's just there to hang out and party. He's also on the line with Nightwing, who I guess is taking down, like, a shipment of drugs, because he makes the comment, who knew heroin was so flammable, because a giant explosion happens behind him. Anyways, her and Bruce kind of, like, chat for a second, and then Thomas Elliot comes up, and Thomas Elliot is like, hey, Bruce, remember me? We used to be best friends. Blah, 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 haven't seen you in a couple years. Bruce is like, yeah, I do remember you, Thomas. It's so cool to see you. So, like, Thomas goes to get them all a drink, and then both Selina and Bruce disappear. Bruce gets a call that, like, something's going on with Bane, and Selina gets called by who is revealed to be Poison Ivy, obviously. Bruce goes to save this kid from Bane, and then Lady Shiva shows up, and Lady Shiva is like, hey, someone used a Lazarus pit. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? And Bruce is like, no, I don't know anything about that. We're gonna put a pin in that. So anyways, Bruce sees Catwoman stealing the money that was supposed to go to Bane, like, it was the ransom for the little kid. So it was supposed to go to Bane. Catwoman steals it. So he chases after Catwoman. There's like a little part where, like, Bruce falls, and then Catwoman, like, defends him or whatever until Batgirl shows up, and then she leaves with the money. So she shows up to Ivy, and Ivy, gives her the kiss or whatever, and intoxicates her with her pheromones so that Selina will, like, listen to whatever she says. And Selina leaves, and then Hush comes out, and him and Ivy have kind of, like, a discussion, like, hey, I don't know, Hush is just being a dick. He's just like, your job's not over till I say it's over, and it's like, shut up. So what happens next is we see Batman, Batgirl, and Alfred in the Batcave, and Batman is, like, on a table, and obviously he's all fucked up because he fell, like, I don't know how many stories. I'm just gonna say 3. So they have the plan that Batgirl's gonna go crash the Batmobile. And then, you know, like, so Bruce is in the hospital, and Thomas Elliot, who is still a famous surgeon in this universe, operates on him, and then they have the talk about, like, Bruce is like, I want to be a better friend to you. And then what happens next is, you know, like, Bane and Catwoman show back up at where Ivy's greenhouse was, and, they, you know, they get into, like, kind of a fight, and then Waller is in this for some reason. I guess she wants Bane for, like, a Suicide Squad mission. I don't know what Waller's, whole deal is, but I don't know, that's what they were hinting at, I guess. Not sure. And then Bane gets taken down by Waller / also Batman, because he, like, provided the tranks or whatever. And then Batman and Catwoman have, like, a conversation about teaming up. So they talk about teaming up, and then they make out, and they try to, like, replicate the iconic scene from the comic, which, by the way, there's a statue of that scene that is, like, $1,000+. It costs $1,000+. And I only tell you this because I think that's ridiculous, and also, I want it. So then Bruce goes to Metropolis, and he runs into Clark and Lois, and, you know, whatever, they have banter. But then he goes to Lex Luthor, and, by the way, can I just say that it's weird that anytime that I can recall Batman, like, seeking out Lex Luthor to, like, interrogate him or ask him a question about something, it's always when Lex Luthor is sleeping, and Lex Luthor is sleeping shirtless in his bed, and Batman just stares at him quietly for a few minutes before Lex pops awake. What is that about? Anyways, I digress. So he goes to Lex Luthor to kind of ask him some questions, and then Lex mentions that, like, he saved the world, or, like, he's a member of the Justice League now or something, which I don't understand. I haven't seen all these movies, but I've seen most of them, and I don't recall that happening. So please tell me if there's one that I missed, because that makes no sense to me in any DC universe, except for the one where, like, it's flipped, like, the Justice League are the bad guys, and, like, Lex Luthor and stuff is the good guys. I don't get this. And then after talking to Lex Luthor, Bruce gets the information that he needs about, like, where Ivy is, and, you know, Selina shows up. She tries to pretend to be, like, still indoctrinated by Ivy, but, like, Ivy can tell that she's not. And so, you know, they get into a fight, and then Ivy pulls the Superman card because she's indoctrinated Superman. I know that if you read the comics, you understand all this up till now. Just bear with me. Okay. Superman comes out, he and Batman fight. Bruce has Selina, Catwoman, throw Lois Lane off the top of a building to, like, snap Clark out of it. And that works. And then Bruce Wayne, as Bruce Wayne, asks out Selina Kyle on a date to the opera. And while he's driving there, his 13-year-old son, Damian Wayne, calls him, and first he calls Selina a trollop, and Bruce isn't even offended that he calls Selina a trollop. He says that they need to update Damian's slang. So, I don't know, make of that what you will. And then, Damian demands that his father make sure that he wear a condom, because it's a totally normal thing for son to tell a father. Look, I know that Damian and Bruce have kind of, like, a weird relationship, because Damian was, like, raised by assassins, and, like, he doesn't have, like, a lot of I don't want to say couth, but like tact, and that's whatever. But I still think it's a little weird to have like a 13-year-old kid call their dad and be like, "Dad, make sure you wear a condom if you're gonna have sex." And anyways, so Bruce hangs up on him, and they go to the opera. And at the opera, Bruce is having a great time. He's like, "Oh my god, Selena looks so beautiful. I'm so in love with her." Anyways, so he's having a great time. And then Harley Quinn comes out, and she tries to shoot Bruce. And Thomas Elliot is like, Bruce tells Thomas, like, get the girls somewhere safe. And Thomas, like, he takes the girls, and they run off, blah, blah, blah. And then, Selena does change into the Catwoman costume. She fights Harley, but then she gets hurt, and Bruce, like, catches her or whatever, because she falls off, like, a scaffolding, or where they have the lights in the theater. Don't judge me for not knowing. Bruce leaves her in the theater, and then he runs out, and he sees Joker, or he hears like a gunshot. He runs out the back of the theater, and he sees the Joker. The Joker has a gun, and it looks like he's murdered Thomas Elliot, and the Joker, makes a comment like, "Oh, this looks bad," and the Batman starts, like, beating the shit out of him and almost kills him, but, Commissioner Commissioner Gordon stops him. I want to note here that, they did take out the scene of Selena trying to stop him from murdering the Joker, and I don't know, they might have taken out that scene because, like, in the comics, like, Bruce does, hit her. Anyways, they might have taken it out because, like, that looks bad. And then they have the infamous scene of, like, Thomas Elliot's funeral, and something they took out was the scene of Bruce reading, "Oh Captain, My Captain," and I thought that was kind of a weird choice, but whatever, they didn't ask me. Oh! During the funeral, Selena holds Bruce's hand, and, like, Bruce is like, "Oh my god, that means so much to me, like, she cares so much about me." Anyway, after that scene, Selena calls Bruce, and they have kind of a flirty conversation, but she does tell them that there is another man, and the other man is, Batman. And, I mean, she doesn't tell him that it's Batman, but she does tell him that it's another man. And then Nightwing is listening in on the conversation, and he gives Bruce, like, that classic advice of, like, "I think you should tell her, like, blah, 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 like, if you're serious about it, I'm really supportive of you guys, I think you should go for it." And Batman tells him to shut up. So then when Batman takes down the Riddler, he sees, like, Hush's outline in another building, which to me, it felt like the building was so far away, it's like, I don't know how he caught that, but whatever. I mean, he sees that the Riddler, like, sees someone, and he turns around, and you can see the outline, but, like, in real life, even if you thought that he saw someone, you wouldn't be able to make someone out that far away in a dark building. It just wouldn't happen, I think. So then Batman crashes into that building, and I guess it's like I don't know. I live in, like, Texas, so we don't really have, like, places where unless you go, like, I guess downtown, but I don't go downtown, and, like, I live out in the boonies, so I guess it's like a shopping, or it was a renovated shopping area, because there's, like, mannequins, and there's, like, dressing rooms and stuff, and this is, like, the top floor of a building, so I don't know if that's a normal thing, but anyways, so Bruce goes in there, and he's trying to find Hush. He's, like, punching out mirrors, and Hush is, like, giving him this whole speech about how he's gonna take down all of Bruce's, like, loved ones and stuff, one by one. And he even specifically threatens Catwoman and Bruce forward to go to Selina and reveal himself to her. And then after he reveals himself to her, they kind of have this conversation where he's like, I want you to come stay in Wayne Manor. And so she does. And they like live together. Which I as a Batcat fan, I was really excited about. But I was just a little bit confused. We'll get to all my questions in a second. Okay, so she moves into the Batcave. She moves into Wayne Manor, and they start living together and fighting crime together, and they're having a great old time. And Selina suggests they go on like a vacation or something, and Bruce is like, we can't go on a vacation until we capture Hush. And then, like if something happens where like they both get kind of like a call about something going on, and so it ends up with like Selina and Nightwing fighting Scarecrow. Scarecrow hits Nightwing with toxin. Nightwing freaks out, and like Selina throws him in the Batmobile. And then Batman goes to talk to the Riddler at Arkham Asylum, and the Riddler is revealed to be Clayface under Hush's control, and him and Batman get in a fight. There's like a funny part from the Joker where he pretends that Batman's cheating on him. I don't know. I don't really care about the Joker as a character. Anyways, so Batman defeats him, and Gordon helps. So then Bruce figures out that Hush is like in a factory. And by the way, at this time, he's captured Catwoman, and she's actively about to die. And so Bruce goes to the factory to save Catwoman, and that's where he finds Hush, who, surprise, is the Riddler. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyways, so, him and the Riddler are fighting, and they're like trading jabs or whatever. By the way, I should mention that the Riddler gives this whole backstory about, like, oh, he had brain cancer, he had, like, a huge inoperable brain tumor, and Thomas Elliot was his surgeon, and, Thomas Elliot couldn't save him or whatever, and that's why Thomas Elliot was part of his revenge. And then he went to, the Lazarus Pit. You remember when we mentioned the Lazarus Pit in the beginning? I thought it was setting it up so it could make it look like Hush was Jason Todd, because in the comics, if you remember, Hush made himself look like Jason Todd to fuck with Bruce Wayne. But no, that's not what happened. So anyways, the Riddler used the Lazarus Pit, and the Lazarus Pit, like, imbued him with the knowledge that, like, Batman was Bruce Wayne, and, like, I didn't understand that, because I don't remember any, I mean, like, maybe I have to go read some more, but, like, I've never recalled a specific instance where the Lazarus Pit gave somebody the knowledge, like, oh, here's a random fact, Jeff Bezos cheated on his taxes, and it's like, that's never happened. Like, the Lazarus, and, like, also, how does this random Lazarus Pit have the knowledge that Bruce Wayne is Batman to give to the Riddler? I guess maybe it's like a case of, like, his brain, like, revealed what it always knew or something. Like, I think that is something he says. Anyways, it also gives him, like, a genius level IQ. But anyways, like, him and Batman are fighting. Catwoman's about to die. Catwoman, like, pretty much saves herself. And then, like, the warehouse that they're in is, like, kind of crumbling around them, and, like, they're about to die. And so Catwoman, so the Riddler is, like, he's about to fall into this, like, thing of, like, molten lava or something, and Batman's trying to save him, and Catwoman's like, we're all gonna fucking die if you don't let him go. Like, just let him die. It doesn't matter. Also, he almost killed me. And Batman is like, no, I gotta save him if I can try, because, like, that's just who Batman is. And, Catwoman, she cuts the line that, Bruce was using to hold, the Riddler / Hush, and they run out of the building, and they escape just in time before, everything crumbles, and then, they kind of have, like, this conversation where, like, Catwoman realizes that, like, she's willing to change for their relationship, but Bruce isn't willing to change for their relationship, and she's like, well, maybe one day we can be together, but not right now, and that's the ending of the movie. And so I have a couple of questions. Okay, number one. What? Why did you make Hush the Riddler? Like, Hush was already a good villain in his own right. And I guess that leads into my number 2 question. Why was Thomas Elliot in the movie at all? Like, he literally just exists to show up and say, hey, Bruce, remember when we were friends? And then for Bruce to say, yeah, I want to be better friends, and then to die. That's it. That's Thomas Elliot's entire existence in this. And then that also leads me to my 3rd question. How are you... I don't know that they would ever make a Heart of Hush movie, but Heart of Hush is my favorite Batman comic of all time. So I always held out hope that they would make that movie because it's such a good comic. And how are you going to make a Heart of Hush movie? Because, like, well, the Riddler's dead, but also this is comic books, so people just come back for any reason. Like, somebody sneezes, and then somebody else is, like, resurrected. So, how are you going to make a Heart of Hush movie? Because the big part of the Heart of Hush movie is Thomas Elliot as Hush. Explain! Thomas Elliot as Hush, using his genius surgical skills to remove Catwoman's heart. How is it supposed to happen now? Because the Lazarus Pit effect of giving Eddie a genius IQ was wearing off at the end of the movie, before he died. So now that he's dead, is someone going to throw him in the Lazarus Pit again? And then, like, it gives him more genius knowledge, and it's like, oh, by the way, Clark Kent is Superman. Explain! And then the other thing, when Damian calls Bruce in the car, he's hanging out with Titus, which I assumed was, like, they were hanging out at Wayne Manor, and I know I didn't see Teen Titans, like, Judas Contract, or whatever the fuck that was called, but, like, when Catwoman moves into the Wayne Manor, where's Damian? Like, because I'm pretty sure Damian would flip out if Selena moved in. Like, what? 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 It's like they were making a Hush movie, and then halfway through, they forgot. Like, they were doing the montage of, like, oh, Bruce is so happy now that Selena's moved in. They're fighting crime together. They have sex all the fucking time. It's amazing. And, oh, by the way, we have to finish the Hush movie. So, I guess the Riddler's the Hush. The Hush. So, I just don't understand. That's it. But there were things that I enjoyed about this movie. As a Batcat fan, mostly. I enjoyed the montage of them living together and Bruce getting morning BJs and them fighting crime together. I thought that was very nice. So, there's that. I probably missed a few movies here and there because I've been very busy in my personal life. But none of this made any fucking sense to me. And I just need someone to explain. I guess it's good that DC, like, allows the writers to, like, take their own, like, twist on things, but I thought this was kind of a dumb twist.
At least this confusion, I wonder the concrete. Wonder if better now having survived. Jarring of judgment and reasons to feed the sweet. Need out for breath in my mouth, I'm alive with her.